Becoming a parent, it's an exciting time, but it can also be a stressful one thanks to sleepless nights and the endless costs that sometimes come with caring for a baby. Here to loop us in on the common financial mistakes first-time parents make and how they can avoid them is money-saving expert Andrea Warwick. Thanks for joining us, Andrea.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, let's talk about how much the average middle-income family is spending right now on a child each year.
They are spending, and this is according to the USDA's latest cost of raising a child survey, and that figure is between $12,000 and almost $14,000 a year for just one child. Now, typically with a second or third, you spend a little less. That's a lot of money, and it can really break somebody's budget if they aren't paying attention to what they're spending.
Right, and one of the things that you're also pointing out is that September, right now, it's the most popular month for babies to be born. I'm a September baby, so
yes, happy birthday.
Thank you. This information is coming just in time for parents that are, just had their baby or maybe getting ready to have one.
Exactly, and I think it's so important. I know that for me, before I had children, of course, you talk about the common financial issues like making sure you have enough savings, if you're taking time off work, and paying for that daytime childcare, but there are so many other things you really need to consider, and so I'm excited to dig into these mistakes and help people save.
Okay, so what is that top mistake that all these first-time parents are making?
So a lot of families feel like they need to upgrade their lifestyles. With baby coming, maybe they feel like they need a bigger home or a bigger car to accommodate baby, but the reality is babies don't need a lot of room. In fact, pediatricians recommend that babies stay in the parents' room for 6 months up to a year, of course, in a separate bed. But with that in mind, you really don't need extra space if you're living in an apartment, say, or even just a 2-bedroom home. That might be more than enough room. I just suggest that you settle into this new life, the new expenses, before changing anything. Then you can really determine how much you can afford for these additional upgrades.
Okay, so don't add on any big expenses that are unnecessary right at that
too
time.
Stressful.
What else are people doing wrong when it comes to money matters?
Well, we talked about child care for when you're going to work, but a lot of families and new parents underestimate the additional expense for nights and weekends. And this could really add up. The average babysitter charges $15 an hour, and that could be more depending on where you live. So that can really become expensive if you're planning, weekly dinner dates with your husband or spouse. So in this case, you can set up a babysitter exchange with other families with children around the same age. Or if you don't have anybody, check out care.com. They have an option where you can set up babysitter co-ops and share the lower costs or just share that with other families.
Oh, well, that's interesting. And you say parents need to plan ahead. Why is that a good idea?
Yeah, exactly. Don't ignore life insurance and estate planning. These are items that really create financial security for your family. So when it comes to life insurance, it's recommended that you need about 5 to 10 times your annual salary and coverage. And it's really not expensive. A healthy 35-year-old woman who takes out a 20-year term life insurance policy for $500,000 is only going to spend $20 a month. Now, that's like one order of takeout pizza or takeout food, so it's really not expensive. And even if you're staying home with your child, you're a stay-at-home parent, you still want a small plan to cover things like your funeral costs or if something happened to you to cover child care. But then also don't put off creating an estate plan. A lot of people think that this is something only wealthy people need, but if you have children or own a home, you really need a trust or a will. And you can set this up online in a matter of minutes. There are cool sites like trustandwill.com that make it easy. They offer step-by-step instructions, and it costs just $89 to set up that online will. And that comes with your guardianship and power of attorney and health directives. So it's so, so important.
Yeah, and you want to have those papers in order. The other thing is there's a lot of products out there, all kinds of gadgets that are designed to help parents, but they don't really need all of them, do they?
I mean, sometimes you might see these really cool gadgets. I think there's this one baby bed that shakes the baby and helps put the baby back
Rocks
to sleep.
The baby.
Over $1,000. So that's a really expensive cost. Now, there's so many baby gadgets, like you mentioned. And a lot of them you don't use for a long time. I mean, some of these are infant items that you use just for a few months. In that case, borrow from friends and family who have recently had children. Also, some of those more expensive items, like I mentioned, you can actually rent. So you could just rent it for a few months instead for a lower cost. And then if you are shopping for that crib or baby toys, look for used options. Check Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp. There's so many cool sites. I'm personally right now selling baby items at a really good price. So come shop at my profile.
Very good, very good. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. If you want more on her money-saving tips, you can visit her website, AndreaWarwick.com. And